it's a Nymphoid barbarian in a dinosaur hell. No, not really. It's a Nymphoid barbarian. Okay, it's a barbarian. It's a woman in a forest with a lot of goons after her. That's pretty much what the movie's about. Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Movie Time. This is a bit of a special episode because we're doing it remote. As everyone is aware of, we have these Corona times and we're not able to meet with each other, so we're doing the best we can with what we can and what we have. Right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not abandoning our listeners.
Exactly. All of our listeners are craving this episode.
Yes.
Okay. We have been watching a movie called A Nymphoid Barbarian in a Dinosaur Hell. Can someone break down the title? What do you expect when you hear it?
What I expected was they would be kinda like a female version of Conan Barbarian, but that was not the case.
Really?
A bit more softcore.
A Nymphoid in Barbarian in a Dinosaur Hell. I mean, for me, it kind of sounds like I mean, a lot of
like
nudity,
a
nudity, and a lot of dinosaurs. And we didn't.
And we got none, basically.
We got the title lies in many, many ways.
Exactly. So I feel lied too. Moving on, this movie was released in 1990, which I was a bit surprised because I thought it was way earlier, like in the beginning of the 80s or something like that. The quality overall is a bit low, I would say.
A funny thing about that is that the guy that directed this movie, Brett Piper, also made the special effects in Sharkenstein, another hit movie we reviewed on this channel.
Okay, so Brett Piper is the one who made special effects.
In this movie, it says he only directed it, so I don't know if he made the special effects in this movie, but he did make the special effects in Sharkenstein at least.
Exactly. One thing with that is that the special effects in this movie is way better than the Sharkenstein one.
Yeah, but the plot and story is worse.
Do you really think the plot is worse? I don't know.
I think the plot is worse than Sharkenstein because it's basically no plot.
Okay, well, the budget for this movie was $40,000. I'm not really putting that in the perspective of how it used to be back then, but it sounds like a fair amount of money, at least.
I don't know.
I mean, you can see where they spent all the money. It's not on the actors. It's I would say it's on the special effects.
Yeah, well, if you like stop motion, it's pretty decent, but stop motion is what it is, so it's not that good looking.
Yeah, but there's also some animatronics, right? That's gotta be expensive.
I just don't think $40,000 sound very expensive.
Okay.
Well, it looks crap either way.
If I were to sum it, I would say that the acting and the music and the overall cinematic quality, it kind of looks like a porno that never goes on to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the title suggests also, but it never happens.
Yeah, but it looks really bad. The first impression was also the last. But let's move on to the characters. No. Let's do the plot.
Yeah. Can someone please explain the plot?
Exactly. We've been looking at this movie but no idea what it's about. It's not what the title says. it starts out with a kind of fun intro. I think it's about this barbarian girl who lives in the forest. I think it's post-apocalyptic, right?
Yeah, because it happens after the world is destroyed by a nuclear war.
Yeah.
Yes, and people die of radiation and stuff like
And
that.
both people
So the dinosaurs are not actually dinosaurs.
Yeah, the people and animals are actually mutated into the new things that are in this movie.
But the animals are also evolved out of the radiation, right?
Yeah, that's
Because
the thing. The dinosaurs we see are actually like mutated dogs and stuff.
Exactly. So it's not really dinosaurs. It's just very big dogs from the script. Either way, she says in the beginning that she finds all of these dinosaurs and her living in the forest a bit annoying because she cannot find a good boyfriend.
Yeah, she said something about she can't control or letting her juices flow or something like that.
Yeah, so a lot of this actually points towards it being a porno. If I were to like put this on, I watch this on YouTube, but if I were to watch on some on a different hub, for instance, I would expect it to be something else. Maybe because of the site as well. But after the intro, and it's explained that the radiation created this, and it is a post-apocalyptic scenery. She starts out in the forest, and she gets attacked by 3 guys, 4 perhaps, and she gets rescued by some other guy. And from that, I'm mentioning this because from this point and on, you don't really know what the movie is about because it's just a lot of walking around. But I think that she meets this guy. They get separated by other people who we will mention later on, and then she tries to find him again. That's pretty much the premise, I would say.
It's basically a silent movie because no one is really talking much.
There are very few lines.
Okay, so let's discuss the characters. We have Leia, and who is Leia?
I can say that I have no idea how she managed to survive for this long on her own because she's completely useless.
Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense that she's alive.
It really does not.
She basically just jumps into every body of water she finds, and then she gets kidnapped and raped all the time.
The funny thing about that, she actually is never raped, but she really, really, really should have been, like several times.
In your opinion, or?
No, but I mean, I'm just thinking how if the world looks like it does, and people are kind of not finding girls everywhere. I mean, she's the only girl in the movie, so I'm kind of thinking that they are rare. And I mean, I'm not saying that you should, but from the movie premise, I would say that she should have been, raped a lot of times. I would say.
I mean, it comes close like 2 times at least.
At least 2 times.
And she described herself as a nymphomaniac, so.
Among things, yeah. She doesn't really have many characteristics. I mean, she is basically just running all the time and trying to find him.
But none.
She runs and she gets kidnapped.
None of the characters have any personality because no one barely speaks in this movie.
Yeah, that might be the problem, that they never speak, because it's very rare dialogue. It's like non-existent.
I mean, the dialogue could be like 5 minutes total. The rest is just grunts and sound effects.
It's easy for them to remember the lines, because by lines I mean words, and by words I mean like free. It's so easy for them just to read a script. It
No,
couldn't
and
have
even
taken
though
long.
this is a thing, it's just you can clearly tell that the voices are recorded onto the movie afterwards.
Right? I was thinking about that too, but not just that. Like a lot of the
I think all
sounds
of the
was
sounds
added
are added
afterwards.
onto it afterwards.
Y- Like in the beginning, when Leia is
Yeah,
running in the water, it looks so fake because of the sounds. It's like splashing around in a
and
bathtub or something.
also um, never mind. I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, that
Yeah,
doesn't matter. We can move on. Then we meet our other character named Marn. I don't know what kind of name that is. Is that like a typical American one?
I mean, this is post-apocalyptic, so maybe
it
it's
sounds
a common
it
dinosaur
sounds like
world name.
a hillbilly name.
I think it sounds more like a sound than an actual name. Like Marn, like something you do when you're like, I don't know, tired or something. Almost like yawning, but not really.
It makes sense that they're kind of reverting back to the caveman stage.
Yeah,
I guess so, but they can speak.
They can speak perfectly, actually, even though it's not
Yeah.
yeah, but
human.
that's a weird point in the movie. Later on in the movie, she gets this like kids book where she reads the apple and ball and stuff. Like she's been talking
Yeah.
perfectly fine before this. So why is this so special?
Yeah, but actually, I thought that was actually a good thing in the movie, because when she opens up the book, she reads apple, or she assumes that the word is
Mm.
apple, because she sees an apple and there's a word, and she's like apple. I was like, okay, sure. And then she turned the page around and it's a ball, and I'm thinking, if she says that that's a ball, my next question is, does she even know what a ball is? But she says round, which I thought was good. I thought that actually, I was surprised that they actually thought about that.
Yeah.
I also actually like that. And then she looked at the cat, and she didn't recognize cat, so she called it food.
Exactly. And that was actually a good thing. I thought that was, because in these kind of movies, it's very easy for them just to, I don't give a shit. Let's read what it is. It's a ball. It's a cat. Everybody knows that. Well, maybe not after radiation wars. Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Fair
let's
point.
move on. After Leia and Marn meet up, they run towards the ocean for reasons. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
trying to find a better life or
What's his
whatever.
personality though?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's so easy to ignore him, because, I mean, if Leia has no personality, he is even
Yes.
worse.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. They're like a couple or something. That's it.
And that's also strange. How can they become a couple so fast? I mean, it's dire times, so I guess it's okay. There's a man and there's a woman. I mean, what else
He's
should
like
we
the
do?
first woman who didn't try, or he's the first man who didn't try to rape her. So I guess they're
Yeah,
blah, 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 boyfriend and girlfriend now.
the bar is very low. Yeah.
Uh,
If you're a man with 2 legs, 2 hands, and a head, and you don't rape me, let's move on and get married.
yeah.
But the Morn guy is, I mean, he barely speaks. He's barely in the movie. I mean, the only thing he does is saving her, and then he fights the next character that we're going to talk about a little bit, and then he is pretty much away from the movie,
Yeah.
and just being shown a small bits
But one thing that's special
for us
about him,
to remember him.
one thing that's special about him though, is that he's the only one who has ranged weapons. Like in the beginning, he has a crossbow, and then in the end, he has a gun.
Yeah, that was actually pretty funny, because in the beginning, when they introduced the title of the Barbarian in the Dinosaur Hell, the first thing it shows us is a dog,
Yeah.
which he tries to kill
Yes.
and also fails. The dog stands still and is not able to even hit it with an arrow.
One would think that
But
he's
then he
trained
faces a dinosaur.
a dinosaur worm or something.
Yeah, some dinosaur worm, and then he shoots it perfectly in the eye, like dead center.
I guess it's luck.
I don't like that. Inconsistent.
Yeah,
If
it could
he's
have
a
been.
bad shot, he should have been.
Yeah. What do they even eat? They barely show anyone eating. There's like one scene.
Yeah, the girl is eating, and that was also pretty funny. Leia, when she eats, because when she meets the Leatherface, which we comes to later too, she eats the bowl, eats the stuff within the bowl that he gives her, and then like 2 minutes later they go down fishing and makes up another fire in order to cook another meal.
I don't know. They want to socialize over food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it
two
takes
times
place
within 5 minutes.
over a couple of days, I guess.
That's another thing. The time is very confusing because you have no idea how much time it actually passes between the scenes.
That's right. That's a good point, because when Leia and Marn meets, they run towards the ocean, as we mentioned before, and we have no idea how long time that is. It could be days, weeks, hours. We have no clue.
Yeah, so it could have been just went 20 minutes across the hill to the beach, or it could have been a month. But a month makes more sense because then they could at least have bonded a bit more.
They packed some food and stuff for it, so I guess they were expecting a long trip.
Well,
Does anyone know why they even moved?
no, I don't know why they're
As I was
moving at all.
No, because moving is all they do. But I speculated that they wanted to find a better place. I don't know if running towards the ocean is the best place. But that's me. Let's move on to the other character, and his name is in my notes is the King. I don't know if we get the name from him.
I did find a name from him on IMDb, and there they call him Klon.
Klong?
Yeah.
Yet that's not been mentioned at all.
No, I don't think it's mentioned.
Maybe it was his name in the script because of reasons.
We can just call him the villain, whatever.
No, I would call him the King. He is the king.
Yeah, of the lizards.
Exactly. No, the Reptilian Goons.
Oh, my bad.
Exactly. Okay, so who is the king? Adam already said. Yeah, already said it. He's the villain. What do you think of him as a villain?
Well,
he has these lizard people sidekicks, and they seem to have IQ of, I don't know, chimpanzee or something.
To me, it seems like they're just some kind of weird cult.
Yeah, I mean, what is the purpose of the king? In what way is he a villain?
Well, he wants to find the girl, capture her, and rape her, I guess. Don't know why.
Yeah, that's the only thing that he wants to do, or at least the only thing that we see him doing.
You also see when they're introduced that he's like reptilians beat up and eat an old man or whatever he was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not much for them to do. So if he finds a purpose in life by kidnapping this girl, maybe you should just let him.
Yep.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, and as Adam mentioned, there's sidekicks to this king, and they are called the Reptilian Goons. And they're basically human-like dinosaurs.
Yeah, they call them mutants or something. So.
Yeah, they're kind of mutants. So I guess they were people before, but then they are not. Maybe that that they talked about the animals being mutated, so maybe this is the same thing but for the humans.
Yeah, but it only affects some of them, I guess.
Can we talk about how annoying their sounds was?
Yes, we must talk about that.
It was some sort of mix between some deep voice and some squeaking.
Yeah.
Which also very obvious was laid into the movie afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the scene when they're introduced, they are like together and they start fighting with each other, and they just keep making that noise. And I just pray that Corona would claim me.
Why do you think this shows that kind of sound? I wouldn't have gone with that.
Me neither.
Do you think it's because it makes them sound more stupid or more like what should you
Yeah,
say?
it's
like
more animal-like.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's really that. I mean, if the director wants them to sound stupid or like a subcategory of species to the king, so it makes them sound stupid. Or was it just like, this is the sounds that we have available, let's mix them together and throw it on?
Yes.
I would guess it was something they had available. Yeah, they're like, yeah, this is good enough. They can sound like this.
Otherwise, it's typical that they add some sort of growling sounds when it's dinosaur. I mean, the other dinosaurs that's in the movie have some sort of, I wouldn't say dinosaur-like sound, but more what you would
Yeah,
expect.
kind of wild animal sounds.
Yeah, exactly. So why not just like move in the same direction with these? I really hated these characters. They were annoying as hell.
Yeah.
They were.
And then we have two small characters that we need to mention, but they're not really in the movie that much. So the first one is the old man. When are we introduced to the old man?
Well, what happens is that Leah and Marn get attacked by the king and lizard goons, and they get beaten up. And Leah gets kidnapped, and Marn is left on the ground injured. And then the old man suddenly comes by, and he finds Marn, and he nurses him back to health.
Yeah, and he also offers him a prop.
Yeah, he offers him a gun.
Is this is some sort of shotgun too? So it's not like a typical revolver or anything, or a Glock or anything. It's like a really heavy weapon that he offers him.
I was really surprised with something like that, because typically a move like this, you will find just like using a normal handgun, but this is actually some pretty advanced stuff.
Later on in the movie, the girl gets the gun and tries to shoot the villain, and she like misses 3 times, and then they just throw it away, right?
Did they throw the gun away?
I feel like they just threw it on the ground afterwards.
Well, if they did, that's pretty stupid. And did she know how to use it? I mean, if you put her in a situation, did she see him fire it, or did he explain it?
Yeah, I think she saw him fire it once.
Yeah, but I was pretty far away, so I don't think she like saw him pull the trigger or anything.
Yeah,
No,
but then she
I would
was like,
expect him to like.
yeah, she was like
I would
half a meter away from the bad guy and still missed 3 times. So I don't know.
there is, I don't know the English word for it, but the effect of firing a gun can be pretty intense.
Recoil.
And the recoil, yeah, exactly. It would have been fun to see some comedian or comedian scene from that she gets hit in the head or something. But she is all prepared for something that she's never used before.
I still wonder, is this movie supposed to be a comedy or not?
No, I don't think so.
Because I read somewhere on IMDb afterwards, like it said something about that it's comedic gold and stuff like that for some users. I have no idea what they're talking about, but
The only reason that it would be if they label it as a comedy, it would be for them to save their asses.
yeah, because it's so bad.
Okay, yeah, it didn't turn out as we wanted. It doesn't really look that serious. Let's just say that it's a comedy.
The official labels call it a fantasy, horror, and a sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. I would expect them to at least aim for that. I mean, if you want to see something like this, you can just watch a dumb movie like 10,000 BC or something.
Mm.
Okay, so then we have the last character, and it's Leatherface. He has his only characteristic is that he has a very ugly face.
And he has a big axe.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you thought about it, but there is one scene where Leatherface fights the king,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, but before that, he faces his goons, and he has his axe and he has his stick. And when he starts to fight the goons, he throws away the axe and uses the stick.
Yeah, the action scenes in this movie are not very good. It never looks like anyone's actually trying to hurt anyone.
No, it looks like everyone's really gentle, and then they have to like react like it was a big hit they took, even though you can clearly see it's like nothing.
But I gotta say that the fight between Leatherface and the king, I kind of liked it because whenever these scenes are in movies, in action movies, they're all really like cool fights and really prepared fights that it look. If you were to fight someone in real life in the forest, whatnot, it wouldn't look cool. It would look awkward and desperate. Maybe they didn't really get the desperate thing here, but they really got it to look. I mean, not authentic in a
Real.
way, but yeah, more in that direction, I would say.
I
Because
was also thinking that I was actually a bit impressed by towards the end. You could see that both of them were actually like exhausted, so they could barely stand on their feet, and that's actually very realistic. Because if two real people do that, then obviously they would be exhausted after a while.
yeah, they would be really tired because it's a lot of jumping and there's a lot of energy going to try and stay alive, even though they did like one or two moves. Hit and block, hit and block.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say that they were good at fighting, but
No, I agree with you. It's not good, but it's still not that bad, I would
thought
say.
it was pretty bad.
I also find it funny that when they're fighting and the Leatherface axe breaks, it's actually the metal that breaks and not the wooden hilt that he kept hitting the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good choice.
Yeah, but it was also weird because earlier in that fight, the bad guy hits his sword on the wooden part of the axe, and it still sounds like it's steel hitting steel, so that's kind of weird.
Yep.
And it was really funny also during the fight between Leatherface and the king that when Leatherface was laying on the ground because he got knocked over or something, the king slowly walks over and tries to kill him with a stick. I mean, that would never be worked. It would never worked, but it's nice to see dedication at least.
Especially since he had a knife in his belt.
Exactly. I mean, I gotta say that the fight between those two was the highlight of the movie.
Yeah, and it still
I
sucked.
think so too.
I mean, it's okay.
No,
okay.
it's not.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I think we should talk about the dinosaurs. And it kind of falls under the special effects. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little, but they do some mixture of animation, puppetry, and some sort of not some sort of. They're using stop motion.
Yeah, clay animation basically.
Yeah, clay animation exactly. And I don't have a problem with this because you need to use your imagination a bit. So I didn't really have a problem with the dinosaurs or any of the effects in the movie, actually. The only thing that I had a problem with was that the dinosaurs wasn't a part of the movie in that sense. It just felt like something that they threw in because it would look cool.
Yeah, they were in for like 5 minutes top.
Yeah, and it doesn't affect the movie. It only works as as a plot device one time when Leah needs to get away. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, nothing had happened in a while. Let's throw in a dinosaur
Hmm.
and let's see what we can do about that. It had nothing to do with the dinosaurs at all. That is, the Jurassic Park movie from '94. It's
Yeah.
really great. It's about dinosaurs. But then you go to what's the follow-up movie in not I'm talking about the reboot. It's Jurassic World, right?
Yeah, Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, the second movie. It that's well, it's kind of feels like here because in that movie it's not about the dinosaurs. It's about the characters trying to do other stuff, and the dinosaurs is just like there in the background
Mm.
doing some things. So that's why I hated that movie. That's just a side note, but that's kind of how it feels like in this movie too. That it's a Nymphoid barbarian in a dinosaur hell. No, not really. It's a Nymphoid barbarian. Okay, it's a barbarian. It's a woman in a forest with a lot of goons
Yeah,
after her.
it's
That's
basically a
pretty much
girl
what the movie's
in a
about.
forest. That should be the official
Yeah,
title.
with people after her.
Sometimes.
So I think that if they would have used, I don't really know how it works with the claymation and how to integrate that with real people. But it in this case it doesn't really work because they're not supposed to. For me they're supposed to be like the main thing in the movie, and stuff that happens between that. You go between the dinosaurs to reach the goal. The dinosaurs here are just like
Yeah,
Would have made more
people.
sense if dinosaurs would have kidnapped Leah, but no.
but I don't really like the clay animation here either. It looks like King Kong, the original King Kong, and that movie is about
You
a
know,
hundred
they
years old.
reminded me. Well, it reminded me of when we were at school together and we made clay animations.
Yeah, but we were about much better than they are.
Yeah, and it took us an
Yeah,
entire
to do
afternoon.
a 1 minute movie though, but still,
Still.
Yeah, can you imagine how much time they have put into
that's why
that
they're only in
this
there
movie?
for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but don't do it if you can't. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time, I
But the
say.
one thing I liked it was that the swamp monster. I think that was pretty cool for whatever this movie did.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. In the scene, Marn is walking through a swamp, and then the swamp monster, appears from the water and
Hmm.
attacks him. I didn't know. I don't know if you noticed that, but his mouth moved with his
Yeah,
teeth,
I saw that.
which I thought
They
was
were
really
like,
cool. Yeah, it was really
yeah,
cool.
I like that that
That's
monster. That's probably my favorite monster in
Yeah,
the
he
movie.
looked really good, but as many things, he's only there for like a few seconds and then he's gone.
Yeah.
Which I feel it's too bad because this character could have been like this
Yeah,
main villain, that he's the one who's
or all
following
the
him.
villains could have been swamp monsters instead, because they at least looked good.
Yeah, or these characters could have been they could have met somewhere and they could have gotten separated for reasons of being kidnapped or anything like that. But then those character disappears by being eaten by dinosaurs or anything, and the movie is about them finding their way together, but they have to move through this forest filled with dinosaurs and swamp monsters and whatnot, because then it would have been more like what the
Hmm.
title says. And also, they should have removed the Nymphoid thing because that makes no sense at all.
No, the only Nymphoid thing about her is that she dressed in little clothing, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't really look comfortable.
No.
Did you notice that in the scene with her and the king when she's get captured in the skull cave, that he tries to rape her, of course, and he pulls
Hmm.
out her breast? That that
Yeah.
that is a breast double. That's not her breast.
No, I don't
I didn't actually
know.
notice that.
No, in the way that they're filming it, they're filming him pulling down her shirt and filming her breast, and he's caressing them. But then whenever they are filming like the entire body, they're not showing her breast, which means it has to be a breast double. She didn't want to show a breast on TV.
Okay, so this is where you explain why you're an expert on the subject.
Whatever.
You gotta love the breast double. I hope she got credit in the credits.
Well, it could basically have been a man, but whatever.
Okay, so yeah, it could have been. It looks like a small boy's breast. So I might
think
edit
that's the
that
best
part
so far.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about the acting too. Is there a way to describe their acting? Because it doesn't really feel like they're acting. It only feels like they're reacting.
I kind of get the impression that they're just LARPing. They like threw all these people into this place and they said, "Here, LARP that you're a barbarian in this dinosaur world," and then they just like act on that without any guidance.
That's why they have barely any dialogue as well. They have like one word here and there.
I mean, do you think that the script was pretty much the director or the writer just writing? I think the director knows what I mean. I think the director knows what I mean. I think the director knows what I mean. And so the director has no guidance from the script, and the actors have no directions from the director, which means that they have nothing to say and they have nothing to really do. They don't know anything about their own characters. So they're just, as Adam...
should chime in here that the director and the writer are the same person.
He doesn't know what he wants.
Then he doesn't know what he wants, and he doesn't know how to pose forward that to the actors, because it might be, as you say, Adam, that they're okay. You're a guy in the forest, and you're about to be eaten by dinosaurs, and you are scared or whatever, anything, and with just that small comments, you don't really have much to work with.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, I can imagine actually that one of them won like $40,000 in a lottery. They're like, "Yeah, what we're gonna do with this? I'm gonna get all my friends and we are gonna record a movie together, and then just like do it together for fun without any real plan."
The perfect script: people running in the forest, and also there are a couple of dinosaurs sometimes.
Sometimes, when we need it, or not even then. Yeah, so let's just sum up the movie. How does it end?
The king dies. He falls down into a water pool with dinosaurs and gets eaten.
Do you know what was strange? Not just with that. I mean, that was stupid. But I mean, directly when he falls into the water, the movie ends.
Yeah, the credits come on.
Yeah. Wasn't that like the strangest thing ever?
Yeah, but
I have never seen that before.
You still wanted to know what the guy and the girl did afterwards, or what happened.
But but usually you see them like walking towards the sunset or anything, just to have some sort of closure. But they just sit there, and it's finished. Their life is complete.
If you analyze it, it kind of makes it seem like the whole point of their quest was not for Marn to save Lee as he thought. The whole point of the quest was to kill the villain. In the moment that was done, then the movie was done.
Yeah, but in the beginning they didn't even know that there was a villain.
Yeah, but we don't know that. The king could have been famous across the lands.
But no one mentions his name.
Maybe there's some deep lore.
No, but nobody mentions anything.
No one mentions anything.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's score. Let's give the movie a score between 1 and 10. Who wants to start?
I could start, I guess. I don't know. I do get the feeling that they probably had fun recording this movie, and I guess that's a good thing, but it's unfocused, and basically nothing happens during the entire movie. They just walk around in circles, and I don't know. It's not very entertaining, so I'll give it 2 out of 10.
Yeah, the plot is basically Thor, Almighty Thor, but worse, just walking.
And no talking.
Yeah. I guess I can get my score out there because it was so bad. It was so boring, and I basically zoned out for a good 20 minutes somewhere during the movie. I don't know. Bad acting, terrible action, bad special effects, pointless story. Oh, and we forgot to mention that the music during this movie, it was so terrible. I could barely stand it. Because, in the beginning, they were like just hitting things in random order.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the most popular band of their time.
Because it sounded like they were having these drumsticks.
Was it Nirvana?
Yeah. I mean, they had like these drumsticks, like just hitting 2 drumsticks together for like a good 10 minutes in the beginning of the movie, and then they found something else lying on the floor and they started banging on that. So it was terrible. And then later when they were supposed to have action, it's like someone found a piano and just hit notes randomly. Like I could have done the exact same thing with the first time I ever saw like a piano. It was terrible.
It is kind of funny because I can imagine, like, I would say, Jimmy, you need to record a soundtrack using only things you have in your room right now. And something like that could have been created.
Do you remember when we used to do the intro for the D&D stuff with the can and a pen?
It's basically that level throughout an entire movie.
Our int was better.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna give it 1 out of 10.
Yeah. For me, it's like a mixture of feelings because you have a point when you say that it kind of reminds of 4, because I don't know what it is with these movies, but when they want to extend the movie into a 1 hour or 20 minutes, and they don't really have a script for it, and they don't really have a plot for it, they just fill it out with walking. They never ever reach a destination. They're just walking around and stuff happens in between. But at least we got a 1 hour and 20 minutes of walking.
Yeah, it's not like they even have anything interesting to show us while they're walking. It's just people walking.
Yeah, exactly. They try to reach some sort of destination that they never do. With that said, I'm actually quite a fan of the special effects when it comes to the claymation because I kind of find it retro. It's like fun to see because you never get to see it. A lot of the stuff nowadays is just CGI. It's easier to do. I'm not saying that it's easy to do CGI, but it's easier to get what you want. With this, you need to have some sort of creativity with the costumes and the makeup and stuff. So I kind of like that. The acting is kind of what you expect from a porno, so I have nothing more to say about that. So I'm just going to give it a 4 out of 10 actually.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. It's because of the Leatherface. I really liked him.
Yeah, he was kind of cool, I guess.
He was kind of cool. Yeah.
He was the star in the movie with his stick.
Exactly. When he threw away the axe. Okay, so thank you for listening, and we see you next time.
Yeah, I hope.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.